director Guy Ritchie takes on the tale of King Arthur in 2017's in his latest blockbuster movie. Is it any good? Let's take a look.
The Born King will come. It is inevitable.
You felt it. The power. I've never had any power or any desire to achieve it.
Okay, here's where I tell you that I'm a huge fan of the King Arthur movie. Every King Arthur movie I walk in really excited. I end up loving the first two parts of it, where I love the build-up, where we find out, where we get King Arthur's backstory as a kid, where you watch him grow up, and he pulls the sword out of the rock, and he builds and he starts building Camelot, and he builds his Knights of the Round Table when he first meets Lancelot. I love all of that stuff in the King Arthur movies. But the problem is the third act of the King Arthur story always sucks. I just can't roll with incest. Call me crazy, but the whole Mordred stuff, the whole Guinevere plot line, all of that stuff ends up ruining every single King Arthur story. So with that said, I walked into Guy Ritchie's King Arthur thinking, oh no, we're going to get the same stuff. But right in the first minute, we find out that Uther is fighting in the middle of a battle with Mordred. So right there, I'm like, all right, maybe we're not going to get the King Arthur story that we know and love and kind of hate at the same time. Maybe this is going to be something completely different. And I was actually right. Guy Ritchie does a really nice job of keeping just enough of the King Arthur mythos around so that we know we're watching King Arthur, but he switches it up enough where the movie is different than what we're used to, and none of the stuff that I hate about the Arthur story is actually in this movie. So there's no Guinevere, there's no incest, there's no Merlin actually. We actually get Merlin's apprentice played by Astrid Burgess, and she's known simply as the Mage, or the Mage actually. I call it the Mage, but she's the Mage. And she's really good as Merlin's apprentice, and basically what we find out is Jude Law plays Vortigern, who is Uther's brother, and he kills Uther in the first couple of minutes of the movie, forcing Arthur to be orphaned as a baby. And there's a whole other Jesus metaphor where he's kind of rolling down the water, and he's found by some prostitutes, and basically he's raised in a brothel. So there's a lot of quick shots, quick edits of him growing up on the streets of London, and we see him become the man that we know and love today. All of that takes about 15-20 minutes of setup, and I was thinking, wow, this is the longest credit roll I've ever seen, where you see a name and then you think, okay, the movie's starting now, but it's like still going, so it's like a whole pre-roll to the movie. So it's pretty interesting the way Guy Ritchie decides to do this. The problem with Arthur, I love the movie. It's really good, it's really solid, but the problem is the fact that Guy Ritchie doesn't get out of his own way. Every time the movie builds up steam and you're really getting into it and it's clicking and you're like rolling, this is really great, Guy Ritchie decides to be Guy Ritchie and throw himself into different scenes where we get the snatch moment where Arthur and the rebels are planning something and planning an attack, and it's shot and filmed and edited in the same style as all these other heist movies. And it kind of annoys me because it's, first of all, it's like you can't escape that you're watching a Guy Ritchie movie when he does this. And those sequences are always kind of confusing because they're planning everything, but they're also showing the execution at the same time. So there's a weird editing jumble mess going on, and you're like, just tell the story. I don't need to see like the quick cuts and edits in this moment. Just tell the story straight. And then some of the action sequences are also quick shots and quick edits and done in like slow motion where he's like this, and then all of a sudden he'll freeze frames and then slides over and then really fast and then cuts and freeze frames, and you're like, just film the action sequence. I don't need you to go all super director on me. I know you're Guy Ritchie. I know Guy Ritchie directed this movie. I don't need to see Guy Ritchie in kind of almost every frame in this movie. So that's where the movie really falls apart. I love the story of it. I'm not really going to bore you with the basic retelling because we all know what the author myths are. But the nice thing is they do just enough to make it really different. And like I said, there's no Lancelot in this. There's no Guinevere. Margaret is taken care of in the very beginning, and basically Jude Law's character is basically the new Margaret. He's actually Margaret's partner, and the problem with the movie is all the other characters besides Arthur are all secondary. Arthur and are secondary, especially the bad guys. We don't know anything about their motivations. All we know about I have to go back to my iPad because I keep forgetting, mispronouncing Jude Law's character's name, but Vortigern. Vortigern, the only thing we know about him is that he wants power. And we don't know why he wants power. We don't know what he wants to do with that power once he gets it. We just know that he's evil for evil's sake. And that's all we need to know, I suppose. But Jude Law is actually pretty great in the role. And Charlie Hunnam as Arthur is a find. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him in anything. I gotta check his IMDb at some point. I know he's from Sons of Anarchy, which I've never actually watched. And that's where he got his claim to fame, was on a TV series, on a critically acclaimed TV series. And he was supposed to be in the 50 Shades of Grey series, but he bailed on it with good reason. It's a terrible movie series, but I like it for some reason. Anyway, he's really good. He's really, really strong in this. I mean, the movie, he carries this movie on his shoulder. He picks it up, and he's in every frame of it. He really carries the movie. He's great. I love him in this, and I want to see a lot more of him in the future. He's solid. But like I said, the main issue with the movie is actually Guy Ritchie himself, and the fact that there are numerous sequences in the movie that feel like, it feels like a lot of the movie was left on the cutting room floor. There are moments in the movie that happen, and you're like, wait a second, I don't understand. It feels like there's a whole storyline missing. For example, we have, I gotta go back to the iPad here, we have Adrian Gillen, who many may recognize as Littlefinger from Games of Thrones. He plays a character named Bill, who is actually a kind of noble guy who's actually part of the resistance, and he and Arthur have a little conflict in the beginning when they're first getting to know each other. But there's a moment in the movie, a really strange moment, where they're planning an assassination against the king, and this is kind of a spoiler, but they're planning an assassination against the king, and he sees one of the guards, and apparently he has some sort of beef with the guard, and Digimon Houston's character is telling him, don't do it, don't kill him, because this is a trap, it's going to alert everyone that we're here, don't do it, don't do it. And he has that look in his face like, I don't want to kill this bastard for what he did to me. But the movie never explains exactly what it was he did. There's no backstory to this character Bill, and there's no backstory or history told to why he really wants to kill this guy, to the point where killing this guy is going to ruin everything and get a whole bunch of people killed in the beginning. And as an audience, we're supposed to root for him, go, don't do it, or do it, because he's a really evil bastard. But the movie never explains it. It feels like there's an entire storyline missing right in that moment. And there are several moments in the movie that are jarring like that. Vortigern has several chief henchmen who are captain of the guards, and they keep getting replaced over and over and over again. And their characters are like appropriately evil, appropriately bad, but they keep getting replaced. They keep getting killed, but they're not getting killed in a satisfactory way. And you're just kind of like, well, by the time they have like the fourth bad guy, underling, you're like, I don't care about these people. What's the point? Why can't they have just one evil underling throughout the entire movie? They literally have 4 different guys play that same exact role. And you're supposed to be like, oh my god, this guy's really bad. And it felt like they just kept switching actors and not really the roles. And that part just felt really weird and herky-jerky, like they didn't know what they wanted to do. They just needed to Vortigern to have a chief henchman to be the captain of the guard or something. And it just made no sense at all. But from an action standpoint, I really love the action. I love the fact that for once the Excalibur actually was a powerful sword, because in the other author retellings in the author legend, and I always watch it going, this sword is supposed to be powerful, but we never see it do anything powerful. It never does anything. There's no magic to it. You never see it do anything. Well, in this movie, the sword actually does imbue Arthur with a lot of power and magical power, and it's really spectacular when it happens. It's really good. I love this movie. I highly recommend it. It's not an A movie. I would probably give it like a B, B minus. It's for people who like to just shut their minds off, watch a good epic action film, and that's what this is. So go see it. It's Guy Ritchie's King Arthur. Check out my more articulate written review at eclipsemagazine.com, because my written reviews are a little more articulate, a little more well-formed thoughts. These are just my initial thoughts. I gotta sit down and really think about what I want to say, and I do that in writing. Tap, tap, tap. So anyway, King Arthur is out now. Go check it out.
Listen to me. I need you to do as I tell you. I need to get you and the boy away from here.
Did you see everything you needed to see?
I saw enough.
Why is the water dropped? Why does the sword reveal itself now?
As your power increases, so do the forces that will oppose you. The Born King will come. It is inevitable.
You felt it. The power. I've never had any power, or any desire to achieve it.
That's what all the fuss is about.
Don't worry. You'll soon understand what all the fuss is about.
Are you scared?
I think I can manage.
You should be scared.
Whatever it takes to hunt him down.
If I go down, you follow him. If he goes down, you follow me.
You want him to think big? Give him something big to think about.
You wanted the prophecy. This is your prophecy. The man who pulled sword from stone. Behold, your born king.